Here we are at the edge of the bed. So we're going to continue our stretches, which are going to be focusing now more neck, shoulders, and moving into lower back and hips. So let's start with some really nice head rotations. So what you're going to do is simply gently look all the way over your right shoulder, and then all the way slowly to your left shoulder. And I'm going to repeat that motion, and you're going to find when you're doing these rotations that one side is always tighter than the other. For me, it tends to be my right side. It's probably the way I sleep. But just gently feel. So for here, I'm like, okay, this side's a little bit tighter. So I'm actually going to stay here just for a little bit, just kind of loosening up my neck, and then going to bring it back into the center. And now I'm going to do some head tilts. And it's really important when you do these head tilts that you really focus on your chin being over your sternum, because if you go kind of off, you kind of lose the stretch. So you're really focusing on this, chin over sternum. So I'm going to tilt my head to the right, not letting my little shoulder come up to my ear, because all of our shoulders love to live up by our ears. And then we're going to come up. Then I'm going to tilt to the other side. And this is where you can see that my side's really tight. And then I'm going to come back up. I'm going to repeat that. And when you find one side that's tighter than the other, you really probably want to do a couple more stretches, which I tend to do just to kind of balance it out. So I'm actually going to, that feels good. And come back up. And then back down again. And really kind of release that. So as I said, it's really important to make sure this chin stays over the sternum. And now I'm going to do some neck rolls, which is not head rolls, neck rolls. So what these are focusing on is I'm going to do my head tilt first, chin over sternum. And then I'm really going to roll my head forward and then back up. And it's very different than doing rotations, because you really are focusing more on these scalene muscles and trapezius when you're doing these ones. So tilted, rolling forward, and then to the side again. And chin back up, and then coming up to center. So now we're going to do the neck rolls. So I'm going to rotate over and do a really big sweeping motion down. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side. Really big sweeping motion down. And you really feel that really gets into the trapezius and opens that up too. So now I'm going to move on into some shoulder rolls. And a lot of people will roll the shoulders forward, but the truth is, we're always forward, whether it's driving our car or at our desk. So I really want to focus on opening up the chest area. And a lot of our shoulders are always living up by our ears, so we really want to keep our shoulders down. So with this one, I'm actually going to exaggerate the movement. So I'm going to have my shoulders up first, and then as I'm rotating them backwards, really focusing on squeezing these scapulas together. And what I want you to feel is them coming in, and then I really want you to focus on putting imagine your right shoulder blade is fitting into your left back pocket, and then your left shoulder blade is fitting into your right back pocket. And there you'll kind of seating your scaps, as we call it, is a really good position. So really squeezing my shoulder blades together, rotating them down. Really a nice big circular motion, squeezing those scapulas together. And one more time, just really feels good, really kind of opening up that body. As I said, once again, really focusing on the position of your scapulas, because then you get this really nice, perfect posture. Now I'm going to go on and to do a nice side stretch. We're really going to focus on opening up through your whole body. So this is one of my favorite stretches, my little teapot stretch. So I'm going to scoot a little bit forward to the edge of the bed. And on this one, you're going to focus on your arm going straight up over, really elongating through your lats, through the serratus, which are the muscles that wrap around your rib cage here. So I'm pushing up, my palm up towards the ceiling. I'm reaching over. You can drop down on your forearm. Great stretch through here again. All the way over first, And then you want to reach through, really kind of stretching through that body. Really opening up through here. And bring it back up and through. And then we're going to repeat on the other side. Another little teapot handle here. My palm is going up and forward, really elongating through here. I really want you to feel a great stretch. So you're pushing up, forward, reaching over. And then stretching forward, you can come down on your elbow to get even greater stretch through. Reset a little bit and then come and swoop forward, and you really get a great upper body stretch. Then I'm going to bring it up, sweeping through and up and down. And you can repeat that, a couple of times on either side. But now we've woken up our upper body, so I'm going to do a little bit more on the lower. So I'm going to scoot a little bit further forward. So for those of you who are more comfortable being right here, that's fine. I'm going to put my forearms on my quads. If you just want to hang out here and get a nice kind of lower back stretch, which is great, but if you're comfortable, we can take it further forward onto the floor. So I'm going to put my hands between my feet. Just staying here for a minute, rocking. My feet a little bit further apart. I'm going to do a seated version of a triangle pose. So I'm going to reach my arm up and forward, really reaching up to the ceiling. Hello, ceiling. I'm going to reach up here. I'm going to come back down. I'm going to walk my hands to the other side. And some of you may be familiar with this in yoga. It's a version of triangle pose, but I'm just using the bed, which is a lot of what this series is all about, is using the space you have in your home. I'm going to come back down. And for those of you who want to just gently roll up from this position, just slowly come back up and on your forearms. But I'm going to also show you an alternative version. So I'm going to come back down, and if those of you who are here, I'm going to scoot my feet a little bit further back, put my palms forward, and we call this our bottoms up toe touch. So I'm going to come off, making sure my weight's evenly distributed, and I'm going to be pushing my hips up. So I'm going to be pushing my hips up and forward to the ceiling, straightening out my hamstrings as I slowly roll up. One vertebrae at a time to a standing position.